We move on to news around the East African region. We started from Southeast Sudan, where Ezekiel Law got caught. The oil minister said yesterday that the country has made its first oil discovery since declaring its independence 8 years ago. The Reuters reports that the latest oil find at 5.3 million barrels of recovered oil is small but noteworthy for the country that has seen its oil production fall from as much as 0.35 million barrels per day to the current level of 0.18 million barrels per day since the war with neighboring Sudan, which damaged critical infrastructure. Crossing over to Rwanda, President Paul Kagame is scheduled to take part in the G7 summit in France over the weekend. G7 is also known as the Group of Seven, which is made up of 7 countries which are among the largest industrialized economies of the world. President Kagame's participation was confirmed by Olivia Indihungerehe, the state minister in charge of East African Community at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. As is the custom, the host country invites a select few non-G7 world leaders of what is referred to as the outreach session, where more common issues of concern are discussed. Rwanda was invited along Egypt, South Africa, Senegal, Burkina Faso, and the African Union Commission. Closing up from Kenya, the Kenyatta family has held a memorial service commemorating the 41st anniversary of the passing of the family patriarch Jomo Kenyatta at the Holy Family Basilica in Nairobi. The nation's founding father died in 1978 while sleeping in Mombasa. His son, President Uhuru Kenyatta, led family members in laying a wreath at Jomo Kenyatta Mausoleum located next to Parliament Building in Nairobi. Let's move on to news around the world. From Nigeria, 17 people were killed when a passenger bus collided with an oncoming truck in central Nigeria. Udeme Chetty of the Federal Road Safety Corps say the accident involving an 18-passenger Toyota bus and a truck transporting a container happened in Kwara State on Thursday. 17 people on the bus died while the 2 occupants of the truck sustained serious injuries. In the Gambia, President Adama Barrow Thursday reshuffled his government. Controversial appointing as Interior Minister, a former police chief, was in post when a political activist was murdered. Solo Sandenge's death in custody in April 2016 sparked a political movement that eventually ousted former leader Yahya Jammeh, who ruled Gambia with an iron fist for 22 years. Sandenge's killing encouraged a weak and split opposition to unite behind Barrow, who went on to beat Jammeh in December 2016 election. Away from the continent, news from Sri Lanka. The central bank cut its main lending rate Friday for the second time in 3 months, hoping to lift the economy as it struggles in the wake of the devastating Easter attacks that hit the key tourism sector. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka said the rate at which it lent the commercial banks was reduced by 50 basis points to 8.0%. It added that the 50 basis point cut in May had not translated into cheaper credit for consumers and expected the latest move to reflect in the market lending rates. Let's close off the news around the world from China. Now, the country could be able to field a national team made up of almost entirely of players born elsewhere after authorities said 9 foreign footballers were switching allegiance. On Wednesday, Brazil-born striker Elkson became the first player without Chinese heritage to be named in the national squad as China attempts to reach the World Cup for the second time. The 30-year-old is poised to make his debut next month in the 2022 World Cup qualifier in the Maldives, where London-born Nico Yenaris, who is half Chinese, will likely win a third cup. That is it for the news around the world. We now take a short break, but when we come back, we'll take a look at what's making news in business.